Dedicating tonight's class to Ilan Ishmael's Chava Bas Yitzchak, Rabbi's mother. You're outside the light. Dividing the comments for Daf Yomi. There'll be a big l'chaim after that.
Okay, everybody saw I have a hard time talking today. Anyways, I asked the rabbi to copy this Shiurim of Tzedek. This is just a sample why to understand the history, why the Hasidim, not just in Lubavitch, no Hasidim, they were so machmer and the Cholov stam. We spoke about this, and I noticed a lot of people are ambiguous about this Cholov stam. Many think that, it's a Lubavitch chumrah. I hear this from Lubavitch. They always come ask me, is it just Lubavitch chumrah? Can I just eat milk chocolate and, I was called ice cream milk, not milk, what is it called? Whatever. And the truth is, the Hasidim didn't hold it was a chumrah. That's not the truth. Is they held it's an ikar hadin. They held this is a shuvah that Tzemach Tzedek wrote, and it's also very interesting that the Gedolei Achronim afterwards have a whole pilpul what the Tzemach Tzedek meant. Just to explain, I don't know when he was nifter, the Tzemach Tzedek, but the bottom line is the Avnei Nezer has a whole tshuva, which lived over 100 years ago, has a whole tshuva explaining what the Tzemach Tzedek meant in this tshuva. How, because also he's very machmir, but he says here a kula, the Tzemach Tzedek. But you see from his kula, he is a lenient, you see from his leniency how machmir he was. You understand? That's what we do see. When the story happened, and how he expresses himself. So let's see. You want to read it inside? Shall we read it inside? Yeah. It's good to see a historical thing. He brings down the tshuvas like this. Ayin Vov, it is. It says, Echad Mea Yishiv. Yishiv means like a village, a city. No, it wasn't a city. Yishiv usually was more like a shtetl. A shtetl usually was not big. It's Echad Mea Yishiv B'nosa Le'ir Al Yontev. He went to the city for Yontev. That was where quite common. Uzev Esperoisav La'avder Shivchusa Ein Yidi. He left his animals for the goy and the shivcha. Sheyechlivon, they should milk it. Bekelem Haksherim Sheyisruel. So again, let me explain what happened over here. This was a Yiddish home. Remember a few weeks ago, we spoke about there's a difference in milk the cow owned by a goy, if the cow is owned by a Yid. This was a Jewish home, owned by a Jew. He had a couple, a goy and a male and a female non-Jewish people working there. They took care, milked the cows while he was in the city for Yontev, and they took the milk and made it into cheese. That's the question over here. So no one saw the milking, no one saw the milking, and the cheese also not. No one saw made the cheese. So he says, "V'usu can she'isuv shmita lasses can." This is a big emphasis which the Achronim bring down. That the Tzemach Tzedek writes inside in Tshuva, he did it b'shoigig. Not he did it, negligent. He thought that the problem of Cholov Hakim, the guy, there's only a goy. If I own it, it doesn't apply. This is the story, he says. That was the question. It is so important to understand history. This was enormous hefsid. Every day companies throw out 1,000 times that amount today. Do you know how much milk gets poured away? And you know what I mean? It's amazing. I went to a few years ago with my smaller children just they should see my youngest, see what a farm is all about. It amazes me how this was in those days where every crumb of bread, I always say this, we have to thank Hashem 100 times how lucky we are. how our children could open the fridge and say, "Ma, there's nothing to eat." Sounds familiar? You have children. A fridge full of food. Ma, there's nothing to eat in the house. Those days there was really nothing to eat. You ate bread and potatoes and bread. Anyway, so this was a great loss. So when we learned this chuvas, you were, what? Milk, cheese, This was a great loss.
That's been 1866. What?
The Yiddish when does 1866 comes on? Oh, okay. Avanesa lived about 30 years later. Yeah. Okay, Shiva, he says Hagvinas, so he says the cheese, the chemen, and the body is shlahata b'di'evet, it can be mata b'di'evet. Av, shektchila, and het klal, there's no het loniach, hapuris, lichloiv, mishul yisul, hemetzad chulu shchol b'eni yidi. Now, he says, even though you're not allowed to do that. And this is a problem with chulu shchol b'eni yidi. So he goes on, the afagav, the Medimeseni, the apprentices is his words too. It's not the Afagav, the Medimeseni, emutzi klal chulav tuma. At all not chulav tuma. Mekina bezem oit paskim rishaynu achroinim. Some are very mekel. The koim, the meaning was not that way. It says yeshluchish bavadai ledasa bein tam shesoymech ikem shemniker. I didn't go the whole sugya. And it's I didn't want to go through the whole sugya, but there is. You mentioned it. Yeah, there is. I explained the main problem of Cholov. The Gemara says is the goy is going to mix in Cholov Tuma, and cheese. Maybe the goy makes the wrong ingredients, the cheese. But the Gemara has another reason. When it says the milk and the cheese is uncovered, we're afraid that the snake spits into it. Even though we don't have snakes, even though it doesn't apply. But the Rebbein Tam held, the Gzeir still stays. He says, other places, if you leave a cup of water open, other reasons, look over there, here then, the Mahaitam Ikel Migzer, Uti Heche, the Shchicha Chulov Tumah. See, I tell people, I want to tell you an interesting thing. I speak to South American people, from Brazil, and I'm saying who live there now. Yossi Yankovic, Yossi Yankovic. So he told me that the many people in South America think the Moshe's heter applies. And I told him, you should tell them it doesn't apply. Because it's such a corrupt country, the police is afraid of you, not you're afraid of the police. Entire South America is a jungle. What did you say? But I want to tell you something. Yossi Yankovic, you know him well. He told me he was asked 20 years ago to take a child, a vision's child, and bring him to Brazil. There was the mother became fry, and she wanted custody, and they asked him to do him a favor. So how did he do it? A pack of cigarettes. Each border was a pack of cigarettes. One border was a whole, not a pack, was a whole, a whole carton. A pack of cigarettes? He says, a pack of cigarettes. All I did, I came to the border, I took out a pack of cigarettes and gave it to him. Let me right through, without a question. One place is starting to give me a problem, so I pick up the whole one. So what I'm trying to say is that Moshe's Heta doesn't apply there. It's absolutely no mitzvahs. That's why the Tzemach Tzedek writes over here. That's why many held. He's explaining that you're right. Theoretical should be mutter, but you see, we're worried about maybe things are going to change. There are places where snakes are more common than other places. So he says, so one place is taka mitzvahs, but that's only in America. I mean, Canada probably too, but other countries where where law and order is the least thing, that doesn't apply. Gam, this is one of the reasons why there was so macham al-babich, and all Hasidim, the other two was some lachreinim. The Gam, yeshluchish be'emes gam lidon, shichal bedu v'tum l'mala simid ashetechsoy. They always bring this is a quote. Maybe the guy is going to need enough milk, for his quota. So maybe he's going to, you not worry people don't do it, but you still have to worry. He'll mix it in. Now, the Tzemach Tzedek is very mekatz over here. That's why the Achronim have tried to explain it. He begins saying there's no heter, and then he's going to say it's mutter. What happened? Other Yiddish, there's an expression, other ya, other nine. Yeah, but why? What's the ever? What's the tchel? Let me just finish the wording, and I'll explain to you how I understand it. He says like this: V'gam she'usaniach kelim kshedim b'shvil Cholov etza yidi. You also can't leave your kelim there. You can't leave your kelim there, by goy. Many people don't know this. I just want to, hopefully we get to that halacha. You cannot leave a shiksa with your kalim. Let's say, because she might cook with the kalim, and the kalim is gonna, even though, people will say, my shiksa, I always love to hear that word, my shiksa. Bottom line is, your shiksa might cook some, bring her own food and cook something in, and the kalim become treif. I have someone just now tells me he's leaving to the mountains with his family for a week to the Catskills. Says, what's my shiksa is going to babysit the house. What do you think? She's not going to eat for 7 days now? I mean, she has nothing to do all day long. You want her to be in the house, one of these rich houses. You want her to house it. All your kalim is also. This is a sidebar. You don't want people to know this. This is a real problem.
But get a camera, then it's okay.
Gotta get a camera. My daughter just put up a camera, told me it's unbelievable inexpensive.
Yeah. But you can't leave a maid, just you have her wash the dishes or whatever, clean the house, and you go out for a couple of hours?
She should know that you're going. We'll later learn
Right.
that.
She knows you.
Yes, and if she knows that you teach and and exactly what the couple does, it also doesn't work.
Does the shiksa have to know the camera, or just you?
She has to know. She should be nurses. Guy tells me in the nursing home business, listen to this, I showed my shiksa there's a camera there. And we know what goes on in the kitchen. And one day, he never looks at it. He checked what happened that day, and she's stealing. She goes over there, you stole yesterday a box of chickens. She says, I didn't steal. Come in. She shows her the camera, and she starts crying. She doesn't have money. So I asked her, what did you do? So I didn't fire her. The next one is going to do the same thing. I just want to know how you're watching her. I want to say this because so many people don't get this. I want to tell you a frightening story. It happened mamish 3 years ago, 4 years ago. A lady calls me up. She teaches in Teres Emes, I'm a Klei Kodesh, and she calls me up 2 days after they finished the school. And I remember sitting in the koilel, and I learned Mechavusa, and Mechavusa thought that someone died. She was panicking and screaming. She says she came home. The shiksa didn't know the school ended. So she left in the morning to errands. She comes home 11:15, and the shiksa is cooking chazer. Chazer, nothing less but chazer. She always told her she could eat from her. No, she wanted chazer, and she tells me, I don't know what went wrong. I'm yoitze v'nechnes. I remember she telling me she's a Talmud Chochem, yoitze v'nechnes. So what do you mean you're yoitze v'nechnes? I leave 9 o'clock and come home 12:30. Shkoyach, the shiksa knows. Every day, a whole year, you teach her 9. You talk your yoitze v'nechnes from 9 to 12:30. You don't come. And now she's convinced. Probably she did it not once. So all the dishes, and we had to kasha the dishes. I mean, it was.
Because not never, we have to rely on the fact that maybe she cooked 2 weeks ago.
Not maybe, 100% did. We assume, why not?
So your China's.
Yes, the China. I remember what we did. I looked her up, then finds a way out for the China, because I think the China we were making because she didn't go out in the dining room, pull out China dishes from there. She has nothing better to do. She's not interested in the China. Same problem. Yeah, so yeah, right. Or Chalamoid. I tell this to my people, Balabat, Chalamoid, the whole family, and she's packing you up to go to Disneyland. I mean, she's there, and the wife tells her, we need sunscreen, put it into the bag, sunscreen. You tell her you know what I mean? And of course, she knows you're out of the house, and you tell her, we're going to be back at 6, make supper ready for 6, and you put on the flames. Hello? I mean... Doesn't help tape up. What is taping up cabinets on?
You put a piece of tape, you sign it.
Lochan, get a camcorder. We live in the 21st century.
You can tape the wine.
Wine is a separate issue, yeah. My son-in-law told me he could see in New York. He could see what's going on. I'm not so expert with the computer, but everyone could do it, she tells me.
What's the reason why the guy needs to know that the camera's there?
Should be business.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying, if you have the camera, not saying even if she doesn't know that it's there.
But you're not going to sit.
You could check and go see.
So he has to be ministers. You're not going to sit there and look at the 24 hours of, look at. He has a program. He told me that to only record the pictures with his movement in the kitchen. He's not. I know. He's not going to go see it through. You know what I mean? That's not. She knows that he could do it. She doesn't want to be fired.
So by that,
that's called ministers. That's good enough.
Say that you could also put a fake camera up and tell the chicks that.
Well, what happens if she tests you? I want to repeat something. I said this more than once. One person told me, my shiksa never cooks, but I was always wondering why steaks are missing. I saw, she knew there was a camera there. Before she leaves, before she comes home, she takes out a piece, puts it in the pocketbook, closes it. Another lady told me the most frightening story. Every time it came lunchtime, she takes out the shesiv erev, gives the child to kiss it, puts it back in. Okay, gam. So people... So the gam, let's move on. Gam.
At what point does the kalim become treif?
Well, it's a big machlokes, and the Mus says it becomes asa, period. And Moshe has a tshuva that you can be mekel, b'efsed meruba. Hopefully we get there, we'll go. He says, what point do all the kalim get usa? So according to the Ramu, it becomes asa. We're in big trouble.
Let's say somebody...
He went off.
Let's say somebody hears this video tomorrow and realizes that they did this 2 weeks ago. They kalim are treif?
Well, if it's anybody, I have to look it up again.
The hefsed meruba is just a kasha kalim? That's called hefsed meruba?
The hefsed meruba is the China who was going to lose all his China dishes. Okay, kashering is not so called a hefsed meruba kashering. You have to kasher. That's not done. All right. Let's move on.
When are they supposed to kasher?
I have to look at the Geil Maisa.
Huh?
It's Geil Maisa.
What am I saying?
I mean, see, it's something that's Negeya. I have to look it up again. Because I know there's certain coolers that the place can make, which I have to. But I just want to say, we spoke about it often. It's very important not to leave, make sure, or you have a neighbor coming, you could be Yitzhak V'nechnis. I have people who. It's so easy to take care of it. That's annoying that people don't know. It doesn't take a big thing to take care of it. Okay, let's just move on. Can't even leave the kalim there, he says. There's a problem with the kalim, he says. Like the Tzemach Tzedek says, there's no way in the world that why does the Tzemach Tzedek needs this arichas? That this is a question of an I taina simple, because the Tzemach Tzedek understood if it's a Yiddish home, it's not the original gzeir of Cholov Akum. Remember we spoke about this. That if it's the Cholov Akum gzeir it was a goyish cows, the goyish owner, everything the goy. When it's a Yid, we have to worry about it. Maybe we have to worry, but not with such a high intensity. So that's what he's saying. We have to be machmer because there's other reasons said in the Gemara. Now, that's the Getchilla. So with Getchilla, he's it's he knew this is going to be printed. He didn't want anyone to learn kulas. So he says, there's no way Getchilla, there's no way, shape and form. Now that it happened and it's a big loss, I'll say kula.
That's what you say the kula on cheese,
No, he's not saying. Ach, what did you say? That time is a loss. No, now listen what he's going to say. This is what he's going to explain now. The cheese you could eat, he says. Listen what he says. Ach, it's very interesting. If you learn the Tzemach Tzedek, he's emphasizing over and over. It's got to be that it did be shoyig. Ba'oines amiti. Otherwise, there's no way he'll say even Hefsem Rubi is not mekel. But not the milk, he says. The Tzemach Tzedek has a huge kul over here, Rabbi Sai. The Tzemach Tzedek held that not everyone agrees. This is what I wanted to show you. He holds another kula that since this milk was it's a Yiddish milk, and the goy was working for the Yid, so it's not called real Gevinas Akum. We're going to later learn this in the Siv base. That is an afkim of the cheese if it's owned by a Yid or owned by a goy. I mean, we're going to have this later. That means, again, Gvinas Akim means a goy owns the company and he makes the cheese. Then it's Chazal Asid. It doesn't make a difference whose milk it is. But if it's owned by a Yid, and let's say it's my company, and a goy happened to make the cheese, my goy worker does it. But the kosher start, everything was kosher. Then it was much more cooler, and that's why the Tzemach Tzedek is mekel.
That's only by cheese, not by milk?
Only the cheese is mekel. Yeah, but you see, there's a cooler on the milk. That means because real Cholov Akim, you can't make cheese out of it. So this was Cholov of a Yid who was not home, that Tzemach Tzedek was mekel. You understand? Yeah, but that we're going to see. Right. So we're saying we're going to see it later. We'll get to that a little later. Here he's mekel because we just learned 2 weeks ago. If I have milk that's not kosher milk, I cannot make cheese out of it. Even I make cheese out of it, doesn't make it kosher anymore. Remember we learned this. The Ramah said very clearly: if I buy milk from the goy and I'm going to make cheese out of it, it's no good. So we can give this a Cholov Akim the Halacha, because if this is Cholov Akim cheese made out of it, it's not going to help us. You understand? Because he obviously that's.
The cow was already milked?
No. The goy milk to make cheese.
So how's it not called Cholov Akim?
Because it was owned by a Yid in the house of a Jew, and you made cheese out of it. And it's b'shoigik. I mean, only then, but why could you be mekel? But if it would have been a goy, he would never have been melted. He's mekel because it's not the real Cholov Akim, and it's not the real Gevinas Akim, because the place was owned by a Yid, and the goy was working. So he's mitzarev. The school is that's why. I'm going to tell you, the Avnei has a whole pilpul, and I don't understand how he ended. No, he's trying to explain where does the Tzemach Tzedek get such a kula even. No, he doesn't call it. You cannot. It's not called. It's not. We will learn that we're. That's the kash with the tzemach Avnei. What you just said is the Avnei's question. The bottom line: if you can't drink the milk, why is it okay? So we have to say there's another level. There's a level of cholov, the goy milk, which there's no heter. We don't making cheese. There's a level that belongs. That's what I mentioned 2 weeks ago. That the milk in New York became better now because it belongs to a Yid. A Persian Jew owns it, owns all the cows. So even though he's not there. And who you think milking the cows is the Mexicans, you know. So, but it's his, so there's a lot more lenient. That's why everyone grabbed it. You should know New York, everyone milks it there because it makes things easier.
When the Jew comes back and he sees some nice cheese that his goy made for him from his milk, and then next to it is a jug of leftover milk, is he saying he's allowed to eat the cheese but not the milk?
Exactly. That's exactly what he's saying.
But the cheese was not under any supervision.
No supervision.
Right.
And he talks about the kalim later. Well, he left it, but this is the kula. Exactly. So this is the question. So he was mekel. We're gonna see later. The other place also has such a kula. Since it belonged to a Yid, And the Rabbi wants to say in better. The Rabbi says if I'm just a partner in the company, it's not Gvinas Akum anymore. So the Tzemach Tzedek held, since it belongs to him, the Gzeira of Gvinas Akum is not.
But the Gzeira on the cheese is not because the milk. The Gzeira
Is a cheese. But when is the Gzeira of the cheese? If the Goy made cheese, his cheese.
because we're worried about
The rennet. But the Chazal made a bullet.
That's still a block.
No. Let me explain this. You're asking very good. Let's start from scratch again. After the mind, you scratch. Right. Let me start from scratch. The Chazal asked a cheese no matter how the Goy made the cheese. If he made it kosher rennet, he made it from chemicals, Chazal said the cheese is also. Gzeira, if the Goy uses non-kosher rennet. So that's called aloy plig across the board. That does not apply when it's a Jewish farm.
When we know that the rennet was kosher.
And the rennet is kosher. See, we never worry. Right. See, we never really, if it wouldn't be cheese and milk, let's start another thing. I would give you like a masha with the tuna fish. Why can we eat the tuna fish? Because the Goy would not pack in the tuna fish even more expensive fish. Because the chicken of the sea is going to look like a fool. Not because of kashrus. If you open a Pepsi and it's wine, you're going to say, no Pepsi for me ever. Why? But it's wine. This is what Pepsi, this is what the Pepsi company does. You know, it's a terrible thing for them. We're never worried lahachas the Goy is going to do. Only by cheese and milk, the Chazal made a loy plig. I can explain. So now, if it's a Jewish home, and the Goy is living there, and he's working there, and he's doing it for you, I know that he milked it, I know that he made the cheese, but the Chazal asked loy plig, so you have to say he understood. We don't make that loy plig when it's a Jewish farm. So that's why when I spoke about the milk is not good to Goy milked it. Because by milking, he's more mu'achmed. This is exactly which everyone brings this Tzemach Tzedek. You see that even though he's making the hefsed merubah and everything, the milk he didn't want to be making. Exactly. You hit the nail on the head.
Is it because there was more hefsed on the cheese?
No.
Milk is more chum.
The milk is more chum, he understood. This is the question which the Avanese tries to address. Why was...
The cheese thing that we said before, that really cheese can only be made from
Right.
milk.
But there's another tzir of that. That's what it exactly. But he's adding to what we learned before, that you can't make cheese from non-kosher milk. So maybe once it's cheese, it's it's easier.
What is the cheese called? It's not called kosher.
The cheese is called kosher cheese.
It's OUD.
It's OUD, yes. So, but I want to just say, so what he just said, you see, we're going to see later, up near Hashem, you see the our poskim hold that if the Goy milks and the Goy makes the cheese, you know what I mean, for you, then it's not such a problem. We spoke about it, we see the Ramul, we didn't learn it inside. But the Tzemach Tzedek was makel on the cheese. You see the milk, there's no way, he says. But the cheese, you could eat. So this is why this Tzemach Tzedek is quoted by everyone. That's why you see that how far he was machmed. Came to the milk, he had to cross the board, no milk. But the cheese he held, that it was makel, hefsed merubah, and because...
How is this different than the farm in New York?
That's why the farm in New York is easier. Exactly.
So that's Cholov milk.
Yeah, that's because there's a Jew there. There's 24 hours to... I met one of the Mashgiachim. I wouldn't trust him with $1, this Mashgiach. I mean, he's a little bit there, but he's a Yid. He's a Yid. You have to just pay him with cash, and that's it.
But you never rely on this anyway because it's a very good Yeved circumstance.
Well, the Tzemach Tzedek. But that's why they have a Yid on the premises. You're right, but that's why we have a Yid on the premises. But when things go wrong, they always, one of the big problems they have, let me explain to you why we spoke about it, let me just repeat this, not everyone was there. One of the hardest things is they milk cows 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning, you live in Toronto, it's a big gate, so harder to stay in bed under the covers. Better, more probably than LA. 3 in the morning, it's freezing cold, and you're just not in the mood to get up. So the Mishgiach would come late, and a big tumult. This is what happened in New York when they would milk another farm. If it's a Jewish place, it's much more leniency. We spoke about this. Even though he comes late.
I don't understand this idea of having to do it. The guy's away in the Catskills. Okay, he wants to go to milk
What's his first name?
He's not planning on having a milk at all.
This guy
What's
thought-
that?
No. That's what I was magnum. We live in the 21st century. We have no idea. Every ounce of milk was a loss. He needed to go to milk the cows, make it into cheese, and if he wouldn't be able to do it, was an enormous loss. I'm saying we live. Imagine. No. He shouldn't have gone. You don't go to the city because you want to meet in the city Yontif. You don't go to your in-laws and leave the shiksa behind and I have to go to my in-laws. Don't go. I'm a father-in-law. Don't come. He was telling him, you can't leave the home because you want to go to the city.
You can take the cow milk, it doesn't fuck you.
Yes. You understand? You see, you're losing perspective. This was enormous loss not to have that milk.
I urge you to milk your cow.
Have a eat there, right?
It's triple the cost.
If the guy would know that it's not okay,
If the guy what?
the guy would know that it's not okay.
Then,
No,
and he would do it, the Tzemach Tzedek wouldn't be machmir. He would say it's asa.
he would be machmir.
Yes.
It's only because he didn't know.
He didn't know, and he repeats himself 3 times. He repeats this. He doesn't write this way. I've learned plenty of tshuvas of Tzemach Tzedek. He never writes this way. He's not. He repeats himself 3 times the same thing.
Your Moshe's Hector only applies to milk and not cheese, or
Only to milk, not to cheese.
so cheese still needs
Yeah, we explain this over and over again. People make this mistake. When I came to the town, I noticed lots of people making. Even though people drink Cholov stam, cheese, there is no way, unless the Yid made the cheese. We'll later learn the kula. If they make from the Cholov stam you make cheese. We'll talk about later. We'll get to it soon. But if even you're not makmin Cholov Yisrael, cheese must be Gevinnes Yisrael. Has to have a hechsher. And they sell Miller's cheese. It says. Not made from Cholov Yisrael. It says on it. Someone says he's.
But what is it? Every chocolate bar is not made from Cholov Yisrael.
So that's also. That's we're talking about cheese. It's not a cheese. We're talking about cheese.
No, so what makes Miller's cheese kosher?
We'll get to it. We'll learn Beis. We'll get to it. I just wanted to show this tshuva how we'll learn the second half of the tshuva next week. Why he's so much making the cheese. But I just wanted to show this is an historical Tzemach Tzedek. This is not all the Chassidim. Not a Chassidim. Many literature was not masking to the Moshe's Kula. Even though it's based on the Gemara, the Kula, but you see how far he writes in his days was not shchiach, and Alpha became he was machmir. Okay.
If somebody keeps Cholov Yisrael keilim and he cooks with Miller's cheese, for example, does he still have to kasher the keilim?
No. We'll get to it. Why?
But if it's Cholov stam, he would have to.
Yes. Okay, we're going to learn the second half of the Chul next week. Let's learn seed base, what we say. What do you say? Okay. Seed base. We started seed base. 16. Okay, zog the Machabas. Venus oivi choven asrim. Cheese of a guy's asa. Shemidim oise ba'or keve shichetusam. Again, we spoke about this so often. I just repeat this, that they did not know how to make rennet. All they did was take a strip of the cave of the stomach. One of the stomachs called cave, I don't know how it's called in English. They take a strip of the stomach, they would dip that piece of meat into the vat of milk and has enzymes to turn into cheese. That's what we do today. The best cheese are still made out of rennet. They take out of the stomach, and we figured out that which enzymes do it. So we just take a small vial. And I asked a cheesemaker many years ago, I says, I have a small vial like this, and it makes 10,000 times its size into cheese. 10,000 times. How powerful this is. What you say? He told me it's an enzyme. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. I have no idea. He told me it's from the stomach. The stomach gives a very strong enzyme, and that enzyme.
Kosher rennet is made
live culture.
from a kosher animal.
Right. What they do with the kosher cheese is they steak it, they shecht, they do it from kosher stomach. That's it. Okay. So he says, "Okay." Now I remember I explained what's the problem. Let me just repeat. What is the problem? Because even though I explained, Tosis asked the kasha, what are you worried about nevela? Isn't it basa b'cholov? Remember we all asked, it's meat and milk. Meat and milk, if it's not cooked, is only midirabanan. You remember busa b'cholov, the Torah says lo yisavashel gdi b'chalev imam, and a Torah is only also cooking, but the rabbanim is everything also. Torah says since they'll never give it a taste, because it's like I just said, it's 1 to 10,000. You never feel it. So as busa b'cholov they couldn't acid it. They acid it because they put in this the skin of the stomach makes it into cheese, even though it's 10,000 times the size. That's called dover hamamed. Dover hamamed means since the enzymes of the stomach is the one that made it into cheese, even though it doesn't give it a taste, but it made cheese what it is, so then it's also, it's like it would have given a taste.
So we don't use any animal for kosher cheese?
We do use kosher animal. Kosher.
Yeah, but it's never mind, you can't use it.
Yeah, kosher.
Cannot.
Yes, can. So I explained. That's why I explained. Basa b'cholov is not a problem because basa b'cholov has to give a taste to each other. There is no taste. So that's why the Gemara says, as basa b'cholov never was a problem. The problem was that the goy, remember, you can make the cheese. We're talking about the goy sheep because the goy uses his cow, his stomach animal that he took out a strip of the meat, and that makes the cheese. So it's the enzymes of nevela that makes cheese.
Why the double Ramadas issue cannot be with a kosher on as well?
It is. It's kosher over the Muhammad. It is kosher.
Why are they comparable?
Because basa b'cholov is only us if it gives a taste to each other.
Saying there's no law.
Let me explain Nochem. Let me explain to you why. Let me explain to you why. Let's start from scratch. Buser is mitter and Cholov is mitter. Right? Meat is okay. Kosher meat is okay. The chicken is okay. Milk it. Torah says these two get together is Akum vei. The Torah says that means, so we're starting now, Minat Torah, these two things to be a problem has to be cooked. Well, let's listen. Has to be cooked. If it's not cooked, it's only the Rabbanim Asa. If two things get together and there's never going to be taste, it's even with the Rabbanim not Asa. It's not together. Because each one is heter. So, as basa b'cholav, the Chazal can never answer this because you only answer something that's going to give a taste to each other. There's no taste. There's no reason to be innocent. Now, nevela has nothing to do. Nevela is iser eitzatzmoy. I have a piece of skin. I have the enzyme of the stomach. The enzyme of the stomach is pure treif. So now we have a kula on treif that if it didn't give a taste, but if it's mamid, we consider like it gave it a taste. Understand? Because we started with treif. But busa b'chulov, it's never give a taste, even though it's mamid, it doesn't give it a taste. It's a mitzvah, doesn't. We have to start with an issa. That's what Tosis explains it.
Mamid only applies to an issa.
Exactly.
It's not consistent. It's very consistent.
It's only with the issa.
Because once you say that there is
You can't create.
we're not saying there's no taste.
No. No, we cannot create issa with davar mamad. Davar mamad, that means if you want to make milk and meat together and create a new issa, it has to first give a taste. They never gave a taste to each other. But once it's aser, people are going to look at it. This cheese, I'm eating cheese. You know why this cheese is go? The guy's cow made this cheese, gave it a taste. That's a davar mamad. That's what it says.
What about its pickling, right? It sits in the liquid for a long time.
Yeah, but then that's only going to be also if it got a taste. If no taste, it doesn't become also. That's partial. Okay.
Is that the yellow cheese? What cheese are we exactly with the animals?
The good cheese, the expensive cheeses. You go in the store. I don't know if they sell it here. In our neighborhood, they sell the good expensive cheese. Those are the cheese made out of rennet. See, today they make it out of chemicals too, but the real good cheeses are still made from rennet.
Rabbi, the other night I was with I looked at the kosher cheeses that they have over there, and they all say rented free. So if these cheeses are rented free, what does that mean? Does that mean that
It says kosher with hashgoch on it.
it's like the Miller's cheeses or what? They have like a whole line of them that are they're OUD or KD, right?
So they make it.
Cholov cheeses. They all say on them rented free.
That for different reason. I think that people are allergic to it. That's a different, nothing to do.
Fine,
Yeah,
I'm just saying
nothing
that
to do.
these cheeses that don't have rented, right?
That the cheap
Why
cheeses
do
don't
you
know.
call a
So that we're going to learn in a minute. Chazal, all the okay. In a minute, let's finish the sentence. So it says, "Gvinis Akum Masira min Shemino Isabar Kevish Chitu Sam Shina Veila Filamidim Basab Masira." You know this. You know, it's amazing to watch food business. Tell you why. Beer was invented the Zman HaMeruam. Beer is not mentioned in the Mishnah. I wouldn't spoke about this over here.
It is or isn't?
Not. It's only mentioned in the Gemara. So the Rishonim say they didn't have beer this Zman HaMishnah. It was there later. Yash, as Yulababich like to call it, Yain Suruv, schnapps, people don't know it was a poor man's wine. That means in up North Russia, where it's very cold to have wine, so they didn't have wine. So this was a poor man's wine. And Trey became, since, but this has no, really, cheshiv is nothing. It was an invention. What happened was, Zman HaGoinim, the people invented another rennet. They figured out certain grasses do the same job.
They figured the same thing in those times.
What do you say? Now I'm saying they figured out. So this question of cheese not made with rennet started Zman HaGoinim 1,000 years ago. There wasn't there was already there, and almost across the board, all the Goinim bring a eye from the Gemara the same. That doesn't make a difference. When the Chazal asks cheese, it doesn't make a difference. It made it. Even if we know for sure, not even the place can say, I look at the cheese, and from the look of the cheese, I'm not an expert, but people who know about cheese, and one guy told me cheese, I could look at cheese, tell you exactly what type of rennet, what type of chemicals, it doesn't make a difference. Chazal said, cheese is also going makes, and the made a loy plague. The rule is, when Chazal made an issa, the made a loy plague, because once there's a crack inside, then, it's like Lashon Hara. Why do we speak Lashon Hara? Because sometimes you're allowed to, sometimes you're not allowed to. So it's very thin, the borders. It's much easier to keep your mouth shut. It's always that way, cross the board, close your mouth. But you can't close your mouth. That's we humans are not, it's hard for us to control ourselves. I always joke in my shul, I always tell them, the Zohar says the dibber is in gulas. I mean, the talk is in gulas. Now I have a big proof that the speech is in gulas. In the shul, you can't stop talking. You come home, your wife says, tell me something. You say, you don't talk to me. And in the shul, you don't stop talking. You come home, your wife says, no, tell me something. You're so quiet today. It's ausgeschmiest. So the shul, you're ready. You yotze all the talking in the shul, you come home. And your wife gets agitated, you're not talking. I'm saying it's much easier not to talk than to talk. I'm saying Chazal went and they asked all the what's the name cheeses. They said doesn't make a difference how you make it. So he says, this was accepted. There were certain places that were noig. We still in places. There's certain places, and the poskim say they were only noig lekul in those places because no one makes cheese with rennet. In those places, and even that was only that place, and they had this man going in some pasuk. We don't even know where that place is. There was a place, someplace in Europe, where certain people will make it. That's gone already. But the entire, that's not the game anymore. But the place can say this, they quote that only in that place where also there was a make, because in that place none of the goyim even made cheese with rennet. He says, then it's okay. The Meshrimu is saying, a big kula is a long shach here, that you don't have to make the cheese, the Jew, you have to see how it, right, but the shach argues. The shach says, but you have to make the cheese. We don't pass like the shach, but shach holds that the Jews got a mamish pour in the rennet into the thing.
What do we do today in our
Today, the big cheese companies already, lately I was told that they have their own thing already.
What is the whole thing?
They have their own milk, their own thing. It's a different thing. I don't live in New York. I just hear by hearsay. I know someone just
There's a lot of Cholov Yisrael cheese made, or kosher cheese made here in California, right?
in Northern California, yes.
But
That
that's
stuff is,
I have no idea.
I'm saying Kehillah, our Chassidus, the Yid is making the cheese.
Makes the cheese. Like it says, you should be machma the yid should put it in. The ikar dimi paskin like the ramud, that seeing is good enough like the milk.
but if there's no rennet, then
That doesn't make a difference. Even there's no rennet, you have to put in the chemicals. There are cheeses that all you do is put in chemicals.
and so what do you?
You know what they do? I imagine, I never saw it. You push a button and a certain amount goes into the vat.
That's what it is.
That's probably what it is. Got to push the button and do it. וכן המנהיג פושע בכל מדינה סילה, ממרוע סיסה גבינה ולא ירוע חליבה. Now, this is a long shach over here, and I started to explain it. Let me re-explain this whole thing. This is very, very important to understand this whole mavuka, how you say mavuka in English, to understand this. Now, what do you say in English? No. Perplexed. See, the Chazal said Cholov Akum. That means a goy's milk is not good. That was an old gezeda. Years later, afterwards, they made a new gezeda, the cheese of a goy. All the Rishonim ask a $20 million question. Why do you need a new gezeda? The milk is also. The milk is also. The cheese is also too. It's made from non-kosher products. If the milk of a goy is not good, understand the milk of a goy is not good, so then whatever you do for the milk is no good. Why did they have to make a new Isana cheese? This is a $20 million question. So Rashi has a big chiddush. It's very interesting history. First let me tell you what Rashi, it's a whole Gemara, but Rashi learns that one Magdumer says that's the reason it's also. Because of made of milk. That's a one. Because of the milk, it's made out of milk.
Which means it's not a new gezeda.
It's not a new gezeda, just to emphasize the original gezeda. It's very, Rashi is difficult to Rebbein Tam ask, because why do we have the other gezeda? The other Manduma says other reasons. You know, why do we need the rennet reason? One Manduma says they smear it with chaza. One Manduma says because of orla. No reasons. Yes. So, Bemesan Toisves and the Balatoises argue on Rashi. The Balatoises say that when is milk of a goy asa, Rabbi say? When is the milk of a goy asa, the Chazal said, is because the goy might put in Cholov Tomeh. When the goy wants to make cheese, why would he put in Cholov Tomeh? That doesn't turn into cheese. So the milk is, that means like this, the milk of a goy is asa, no matter what, even though he plans to make cheese out of it. But once he made cheese, before we added the Gzeda, that was okay. I know guaranteed he did not put in Cholov Tomeh. There's nothing, why didn't he put in Cholov Tomeh? Because that's not going to turn into cheese. You follow? He only wants, he's selling cheese. And let's say, I asked someone who lives in Wisconsin, he tells me there is a company that that farm only takes the milk for cheese. It's the same farm, there are places. They buy the milk, the places. That means they're now making cheese. There's no way he's going to put in Cholov Tomeh. He's fooling himself because he's selling the cheese by the pound. And the Cholov Tomeh is you know what whey means? I explained once. Whey means when you make cheese, it falls away to the side. That's called whey. And there's particles of the milk that fall to the side. And the same thing with the Cholov Tomeh fall to the side. For that reason, we needed a new Gzeda. So now, there's the Machloikis. Now, according to the Rebbeinu Tam, listen carefully. If a goy milked the cow and he's making cheese out of it, I never saw the milking. I know he is a farmer who does cheese. I never saw the milking. All I have to see is watch making the cheese. It'll be okay.
With his milk?
With his milk. Because, again, the Rebbeinu Tam held. You understand why the Rebbeinu Tam held? If the guy is in the cheese making business and I'm buying from him 30, I tell the guy, I want to buy 30 pounds of cheese from you. Okay? He's not going to mix in Cholov Tomeh into this because there's not going to be 30 pounds. He gains nothing by pouring Cholov Tomeh into it. There's absolutely no gain. You follow? So he only made it. So that's how the Rebbeinu Tam learned. Rashi didn't learn that way. So we are machmer like a tchila like Rashi. Now we demand seeing the milking and making the cheese. The Ramah is saying, but if you didn't see the milking, only seeing the cheese, and it's a place that's making cheese and selling cheese, then it's okay. You've got it?
What about the tray stomach rennet though?
No, he's making the cheese. The Jew is making sure that's why he has to make the cheese, not making the cheese. Making cheese means that the Jew makes sure he's there, he pours in kosher rennet. Or he sees the guy putting in kosher rennet.
I don't see how seeing it makes you know.
I'm talking about, no, it doesn't, again, Gvinas Yisrael means that the Jew poured in kosher rennet into the vat and it became, or he watched the guy pour in kosher rennet. That's what it means.
That's what this line means right here?
That anyways means Cholov Gvinas Yisrael.
Yeah, but what is this line?
I'll say, let me first explain. You understand? The word Gvinas Yisrael means two things. That the Jew made it, but he made it with kosher ingredients. He made it when he poured in. It's not he could be. I'm a Jew, so my pouring becomes automatically kosher. I have to have kosher ingredients, and the Jew either put it in or he can give it to the guy, and that the guy put it in. I could watch it. Okay. So now now you learn the remove. He says V'misoroy again. Soroi gvinis a chaliva mitter. V'chenem nipush chom dinasty. V'imru asi sagim v'loy ru a chaliva. He did not see. You have the next page too, or does? V'loy ru a chaliva. He did not see the milking. Yesh lahater b'di'evet. You can make it b'di'evet. What? No. I'll get back to it next week. It's too complex. No, it's not. I just yesh lahater b'di'evet. Again, this is talking about goy's. What's your name? Oh, I forgot. Talking about a goy's cheese company. You understand? We're talking. I'm going to goy company, and I am there, and I made the cheese, but I didn't see the milking. Doesn't turn into cheese. Page test. He says, he wants to make cheese. Avada didn't mix anything onto it. He wants to make cheese. Okay? So now, there's a big machlokes. You see, there's so much shach and there's so much over here. I don't want to confuse you guys. It's enough confusing. The bottom line is that after everything is done, everything is said and done, we are machmer leketchila, not to do what Miller's cheese is all about. You understand? Because we're machmer, that the goy milked it, we're machmer of shittas Rasha. According to Rasha, the goy milked it, even though he plans to make cheese, it's no good. So we're like a tchela v'machmer Rasha. Only b'mukim hefset, b'soymech under bein tam. That's what the shach and all the chayim come out and say. That's, yeah.
But it's only to cheese. What about chocolate?
Chocolate is made out of milk. It's not made out of cheese. Chocolate, that's what he asked before, Binyamin. Chocolate is made out of, regular milk. Fatty milks, put some butter into it. That's, they put regular milk. They don't even they put fat milk into it, I was told. They don't put, they don't even,
But Miller's cheese or whatever these companies they're using Cholov milk, but they're using Rabbi.
Just had to. Now I'm going to next week show you that the Rabbi is a famous Chassidish Moirer Pesach, who was the only one who explained in great detail why he was a big Talmud Chacham. But the truth is, I'm going to tell you an interesting story. Rabbi was the only one who wrote a tshuva against Rabbi Moshe. On his deathbed, his anikel told me that he was in terrible pain. And he was closed eyes a few weeks before he died. He opened his eyes. You know why I have this pain? Because I was mezalzel in the kuvod of Rabbi Moshe.
I don't know what to do with that story, Rabbi.
I tell you why. You have no idea who Rabbi Moshe was. He's a man who did not stop learning. Like Pusik Piva Megersa. He knew. I watched him. He knew Kol HaTorah Killer. It's not a.
A lot of people argued on him for different things, right?
I'm just saying in Torah, he was a Sarah Torah. Nothing to do. There's different G'dolim. He was not a manig. He was not a leader, but he was a Sarah Torah. Sarah Torah means he knew Kol HaTorah Killer on his fingertips. I mean, it's a. I'm going to tell you, I grew up in the Oberländer Kehillah. So Rabbi Srs08 made the Kehillah in Williamsburg. So Rabbi Srs08 was 30 years older than Rabbi Moshe. So I remember as a child I was told that one time the Rebbetzin went into the man and was looking, where is this Reb Moshe? So they asked him, why are you looking for Reb Moshe? He says, when he calls my husband stands up and puts on his hat in the house to listen to the Moshe. Moshe would call him up, a difficult chalice, what his opinion was. So the Yonis Shtayv was 80 years old, and he was only 50 to Moshe, and the Yonis Shtayv stood up in his own house. The guy had Moshe didn't know. There was no Skype. He stood up in the home, put on his hat to give covet. He said in his life has not seen in the old generation someone should know Kol HaTorah Kilo the way he knew. We're talking about Srs08. So anyways, I'm just saying, but Rabbi argues with Reb Moshe, and that's the Chassidim followed the Rabbi Tshuva because it's based on the Tzemach Tzedek, based on other Gedanim. But he has a huge cooler to be somich on the cheese, on Miller's cheese, which was not accepted for some reason, I don't know. Rabbi. It was not accepted for some reason. I'll explain next week. It's too complicated. I'll explain what his chiddush is. I know we're going to get off track, but I want to first focus over here this. So again, the Remu is saying here, there's a difference. That means if the goy has a milking, so if the goy milks and he doesn't make cheese, he also sells the milk, it doesn't apply. The Shach explains over here in Great Land, we're talking about he's selling cheese, and I order from him 30 pounds of cheese, 100 pounds of cheese. So there's no reason he's going to put in Cholov Toma into this place. There's no reason. Why should he put in Cholov Toma? He's going to lose out. But if he also sells milk, stam on the side, maybe he put in Cholov Toma. So that's not what we're talking about. The Achronim always, and that's why many Achronim, not here, but many later Achronim I noticed, they say the reason we will not make them have Sid Beriba because we're always afraid people are going to confuse this halacha. Because it's got to be his exclusive cheesemaker. But if he's not an exclusive cheesemaker, he sells also milk on the side, that Cholov wouldn't even apply.
Is Miller an exclusive cheesemaker?
I have no idea. Maybe someone should look it up on the internet. I'm sure it's from. Maybe someone does.
Are you worried that the production, the people who milk the cows might have given some trade milk to the cheesemaker?
I'm saying it has to be made his company.
I understand. There's a cheesemaker. That's all they do is make cheese, but they had to order them on.
That's what I'm saying. Their milk. That's what I'm saying. If they buy milk, of course it's a problem. It's got to be their milk, and they're doing it, and they're also not selling milk, and they're making cheese. It's got to be very exclusive, sort of to say. Understand? It's got to be that. Then we are safe with the main time.
There's more way they're going to find out. They're going to complain.
No, the art cheese. No, I asked once many years ago. The art cheese makers would buy milk from the market.
I'm saying, but if their suppliers would put in milk,
They wouldn't know. No, they wouldn't know. Unfortunately, a lot of cheating goes on. People don't know. I mean, it's the reality. Anyways, Chazal asked it. Doesn't make a difference. Chazal asked it. So at least you're beginning to understand what Miller's cheese is all about. I don't know how they make Miller's cheese. If they make it this way, I have no idea. But again, the Miller's cheese relies on a Moshe's Kula. Has nothing to do with this remote.
Yes, I don't understand the whole thing. At the end of the day, if you're relying on Rav Moshe and you're using Cholov Stam, which, let's say, halachically, if you're using his Kula, it's as good as Cholov Yisrael. It's like you're using Cholov Yisrael milk, and then you're making your cheese, and you're just making.
That's okay. Exactly. That's exactly what Miller is all about. You said it very clearly. You just articulated exactly what Miller is all about.
Maybe they claim that they don't even use Rav Moshe Center. That even for people that don't use Rav Moshe Center, they're using the Ramah Center.
I have to find out. I have to look. Someone who's good at the internet should check it. Maybe you do it next week. Tell us exactly. Find out how Miller does it. Everything you can find out with patience.
One second. I'm just trying to understand. The difference would be whether their milk supply is an OUD milk supply,
right?
Or just
the company that. No. If they have their own milk, they make their own milk. If Daniel, if they have their own farm and they milk the cows to make the cheese, that's the kul of the Ramah. If they buy from the market, the Ramah does not apply.
If they're not Jewish owned, then they're making their own
right.
milk, and then they
Right.
cheese.
Okay, but I'm just saying, if they are buying from the market,
then it's only Moshe's Kula, nothing to do with cinema. Exactly.
But by Miller's
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so
That's for sure. Or watching. Like a tchilla, the Aruch HaShulchan says you should be machmer, you should make sure you should see it. You should do it like the Shach. But the Alter Rebbe says clearly not like the Shach. You know what the Shulchan Charav? The Shulchan Charav is in Hilchas Shabbos. A favor from Shulchan Charav.
Even if it's like a vegetarian method or one of these enzymes, you still have to pour it yourself?
Yes.
Even if it's not from an animal?
Exactly. Loy plig. Exactly. Yes?
Otherwise we be treif.
Otherwise be treif. So at the end of the day, cheese, you gotta remember, has to be kosher cheese.
What's the last line?
But we'll later see about yogurt. Let me explain about yogurt. What's the suffix of yogurt? It's good that he brought it up.
Have to make yogurt also with rennet or no?
No, that's the question. The question is, you could make yogurt without a live culture. Someone showed me. Let it sit. Someone showed me how he makes yogurt. See, the question about other cheeses is that Moshe has a truth about cottage cheese. Cottage cheese, they don't, and sour cream, they don't have a starter. What they do is they let it stand at a certain temperature, and it gets bacteria, and milk, depends which temperature you control it, turns into cheese. Turns sour milk. Many of these things. So the Moshe is mesupik, since it doesn't need a starter, so maybe it's not cheese, okay? Or maybe not. Or maybe since you have to make it wait and turn, there's something done by being passive, maybe it's also so much yogurt. Why people machma yogurt? Because yogurt you could put in and the yogurts what they do put in a culture. Dan and yogurt controls it very much. It should come out good quality. The only way.
That can be treif.
Then it's like make cheese.
Yeah,
Right
but
there.
if you take like Cholov Israel yogurt and you use that as a starter.
That's okay. But I'm just explaining. That's why the OU still is makel. I don't know why, because they have cream cheese, which we shouldn't be using. OU has cream cheese because they are. I don't know why they will makel. The Moshe is mesupik, and they do. Did you notice?
What's wrong with their cream cheese? They're using milk.
No, they don't. They use ODU with the milk, but the question is, cream cheese. Do you Zayid have to put in the culture?
Even Cholov Yisrael,
Let's talk about yogurt. That's popular, extremely popular. The yogurt you have to put in the culture. So since you don't have to, you could do it without. But since it's done this way, maybe it has it in a cheese, and a Jew would have to put in the culture. The Cholov Yisrael yogurt is done, but someone is there the mashgiach and he puts in the culture.
even with Cholov Yisrael milk, that's
Right. Even Cholov
There's no
Yisrael.
Philadelphia craft
Cream cheese is a problem.
And no one's there.
It's on the okay. So then I'm sure the okay is not so much on the Moshe Kulas. So they're machmas, so make sure that someone makes the cheese, then it's okay.
There must be a Jew over there watching.
Yes. Now, right. The okay is not the makel. Right.
But it's called milk.
correct.
It says it's Cholov Akum.
If they don't like Cholov Yisrael, okay, then it's Cholov Akum.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not making craft Philadelphia cream cheese out of Philadelphia milk. It'll be a lot more expensive.
I encourage just recently someone looking for panasa. Anyone looking for you can make cheese here and you can make yogurt here, and there's a big demand, and you'll be able to make a panasa. Just someone needs a panasa. It's 3 times the price, 3 to 4 times the price as the Dannon yogurt. What do you think to make the yogurt in New York? Dannon makes it. Did I tell you the story? I had a mashgiach in my house, and they send them out here to check it, and he tells me this interesting story. He says he was working for one company, and I forgot which company, and he tells me that our competition was making delicious yogurt. We were losing money. So they send him to spy on the other mashgiach. So he followed the car, 3 in the morning, he had to be awake and watch and go. The guy didn't know who was following. He went to Dannon. They realized why it's so good. What? Dannon is a huge company. So they went to Dannon. We also want to make. Dannon said, no problem. Dannon, for geld, for money, we'll do everything. So, the kosher yogurt in New York is made of Dannon. You could do it over here too. Just got to organize it. It's,
So how can people say they don't taste the same?
that's. I have a daughters when they were young used to tell me that this cream cheese is different than this guy. I told her, I'm going to change them on there. The next day, my daughter says to me, "Abba, you changed it." She says, "Yeah, you think I had time to change it? You thought I changed it. It doesn't taste good. It's in the head. It's on the mind. It's Dannon yogurt in New York. It's Mamish Dannon yogurt.
What about the butter?
We'll get to the butter next week. All right, that's.